without further ado, hello, sir. Welcome. Could you tell us your name and where you're from?
My name is Robbie Hughes. I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'm 20 and I've been with KKC for, I think, 3 years now. The last 3 years. Yeah.
Awesome.
3 or 2 years. Yeah. Ever since the Ottawa branch has opened up, that's how long I've been here.
Very cool. So who do you usually associate with in the Kids Kicking Cancer family? Like who's your
well, Sensei Lynn LaRusso.
Nice.
Yeah. And we see Rabbi G every now and then.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
As do I. He's an awesome individual, as is Lynn. Lynn is awesome.
Yes.
So you got a good one up there. So can you tell me a little bit how you started your martial arts journey? Not your Kids Kicking Cancer journey, but your martial arts journey.
My martial arts journey. I don't have this great, cool backstory that everyone has. When I was 5, I saw the Karate Kid. And I was like, that's cool. And then I saw the Ninja Turtles a day after, and I wanted to be like the purple Ninja Turtle from the Ninja Turtles. And I've been doing karate since I was 5. No, since I was 6.
That's really funny, actually, because I don't have a crazy story either, and mine is almost identical to yours. I was 6 years old. I was. It wasn't the Karate Kid, and it wasn't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it was the Power Rangers. And I was bouncing up and down off my couch after watching the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, and throwing sidekicks and trying to do all sorts of flips and everything. So I'm right there with you. That's how I started as well. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So you wanted to be like the purple Ninja Turtle?
Want to be like the purple Ninja Turtle.
Who is that? Because I don't know the Ninja Turtles.
Donatello.
Okay, Donatello.
It's the one with the stick.
The staff?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now I got the picture in my head. Very good. Okay, so where along that journey did Kids Kicking Cancer come into play? You said 3 years ago, but how did that kind of all formulate?
Well, Rabbi G, he's close with Richard Plowden, and my martial arts dojo, Duvris, John Duvris, the guy who owns our dojo, he is heavily involved with the WKC organization. Okay. The WKC World Championships, and Richard Plowden is very much into that for Team USA, so they know each other. And Master John saw, I'm not really sure how that connection was made. All I knew is one night we had Rabbi G come in, and all of the senseis, I'm an instructor. I was an instructor at Duvris Martial Arts. Rabbi G came in and he gave this whole pitch, and he told us this amazing story. He sat us down for 3 hours and he told us all about KKC. And that minute I knew I'm going to be a part of that. So Rabbi G came, we talked, and I was sold 5 minutes in.
Wow. Was there anything specific about that story that clicked with you, or was it just the whole general idea of being able to use martial arts to give back? Well, or was there something more specific?
The way that I do karate with my mom, and she also is in KKC. All right, I'm going to get into it for a bit. I hope you don't mind if I talk.
Absolutely not. Go ahead. Absolutely.
Kicking cancer is amazing for so many reasons. I think like providing a loving community of people with familiar struggles, or accommodating engaging physical activity that is sometimes really hard to find given situations of some of these families. But most of all, I think teaching a kind of focus and discipline that unlocks an individual's ability to be their best self. I think a lot of people miss that. The Kids Kicking Cancer program provides these kids with a unique out-of-body perspective on their own lives and on their own problems, which is unbelievably important. It teaches how to do things you don't think you can do, and how to have the courage to move forward when life is hard. I think one of the things that drew me to it, and the thing that I've grown to appreciate the most since being with Kids Kicking Cancer, is Kids Kicking Cancer, the program doesn't try and distract these kids from their treatment. We're not there to try and make them forget what is going on in their lives. And that, to me, I think is the most remarkable thing I've ever seen, and is certainly the most remarkable thing I've ever had the privilege to be a part of in my life, to be able to look at a monster as scary as cancer in the face and have no fear, and to be able to witness that every week, even if it's over Zoom. There's no way to put into words how special I think that is. So that sums up my appreciation and understanding for the program, I think.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
That was an incredibly eloquent way to put what we do and what is done at Kids Kicking Cancer. Well done. You summed it up perfectly. It's
Kids Kicking Cancer. Yeah. Like the thing that about Kids Kicking Cancer that always trips me up is you think you're there to support the kids and help guide them through a difficult period of time in their lives. And you are. You most certainly are. But sometimes when you think about your own life, and unconsciously you kind of search for an outlet to sometimes light up your room when it gets dark, I'll say that I was surprised to have found it in these kids.
I couldn't agree with you more. I say it all the time. We go there to teach the kids, right? Like, we're there to teach them martial arts. We're there to coach them martial arts. Most of the time I leave the room probably learning more from them than they've learned from me. And it's through this, what you're saying, at least I think what you're saying, is this idea of empowerment, that we're not trying to distract from what is going on in your life because it's there, but rather we're trying to lift you up and show you that you can be on this pedestal and you can fight it yourself. You don't need a distraction because you're a strong individual and you have the power.
So I don't know if you know about what I did at last year's World Karate Championships about the pink belt.
So this is really what I wanted to talk to you about. So I would love for you to go into this. Go ahead.
Okay, so I wrote the names of every kid who has been a part of our Ottawa Kids Kicking Cancer branch on the back of my belt. And then all of our master teachers who have passed away on the ends of my belt. And I wore my belt when I went up for my scores. I wore my belt in the finals, and when I went up to get my medals on the podium. So I'll talk about that a little bit. Last October, when the WKC World Karate Championships was, I myself was going through a very difficult transitional time in my life, mental health wise. I'm living away from my family, my friends, my routine, my safe spaces were kind of crumbling, and everything I've known, everything I've lived with since I was born, living 14 hours away from my home.
Wow, 14 hours?
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel sometimes very much on my own, and I would be lying if I said that it wasn't scary and hard. And on top of all of this, I'm a student and I'm training every day, and there's the pressure of going to Worlds and performing. But my temporary moments of struggle during these life changes and challenges don't come even close to what a lot of these kids in our Kids Kicking Cancer community live day in and day out. And I've always thought of it this way. We all have hills we need to climb from time to time. These kids have mountains to climb each and every day, getting constantly pulled in and out of school for appointments with the doctor, or having to miss out on a normal childhood because the parameters of their treatment doesn't allow for being able to go outside and play with your friends, or being able to have a slice of cake on your birthday. Some people think Kids Kicking Cancer is about giving these kids courage to battle cancer. No, that's not it. It's about teaching them to find that courage themselves. And there's nothing more inspiring than when they actually do it. So what I've been trying to say is, when I was struggling, I looked to these kids to help me find my courage. So I wore their courage around my waist. Unfortunately, I didn't get perfect results as I would have hoped, but it isn't about that. It's about looking up at your mountain like they do, with a backpack full of bricks, and taking the long way with a smile. Like in my life, martial arts has been the catalyst for a deeper realization of my own individual ability and self-worth. understanding of my own ability to overcome life's challenges. You know, I've had 2 uncles and an aunt die of cancer, and my Nana's husband has battled cancer for the last 7 years. There are people who I know would have loved to see me perform at last year's Worlds that cancer held back. And I've never been the best at putting my feelings into words. And one of the only ways I know how to express myself is through other mediums like karate. And I felt that the very best way I knew how to honor and remember my Uncle Alec, my Uncle Bob, my Aunt Linda, master teachers Odin, Aiden, Sarah, and Sophia, was to bring them out there with me into the ring and onto the medal podium, where they quietly helped me climb my own mountain. So I think you would be hard-pressed to find anyone in this world who has not been affected by cancer in one way or another. So if only one person saw me out there wearing that belt, I can only hope I reminded that one person to be courageous in their own battle, whatever it may be, because I know it certainly helped me with mine. So that's why I did it.
I mean, I think that's beautiful. And what you said, just to put it into you know, because I work with the kids as well, and it's one thing that Rabbi G said to me when I first started, when one of my first kids passed away, and I didn't know how to handle it. I remember, because I'm in New York and I was riding the subway home, and I knew it was happening, and I was just devastated. I remember getting a call from him on the train, and he said, "Keith, you're going to bring that child's light with you into every room that you go into from now on. So every time you walk into another child's room, that little girl is there with you. She is shining that light down, and she's helping you deliver her message and her peace and her empowerment and her courage to this new kid that's in front of you." And what you just said is kind of that for yourself, is you were able to take that light of all of those kids that have passed, and even the ones that haven't passed, and you said, "You know what, I'm gonna bring you with me. You're coming into this karate ring as well." How did that make, I can't imagine doing that. I mean, I feel like I would break down. How did that make you feel wearing that? It would almost make me break down, but at the same time feel like Superman. So how did that make you feel?
Safe, light. Every time I've been competing karate for 7 years, and every time I step in, I'm nervous. Every time, sometimes I get shaky. No matter how many times I've done it, no matter how many world championships I have, no matter how much experience I have, I always get nervous. This year's Worlds, I did not feel nervous. I was kind of in my own world with them. Like I said before, there isn't a way for me to put into words the feeling that I have. So that's what I'll say.
I totally concur, and that's how I say it too, is you have to kind of do it in order to understand it, you know? And that's, I think, something with cancer, like you said, everyone has been affected by cancer in one way or another. But if you've seen what these families go through and what these kids go through, like you spoke about hills versus mountains,
right?
It might seem like a hill, you know, like I mean, obviously cancer to everyone in their mind is that's a mountain, right? But what type of a mountain is that? What sort of jagged hills do you have on your way up that mountain? And people don't have that knowledge of that day to day. And you were able to take that and put that on a belt and showcase to the rest of the world that I know, and I'm bringing them in with me, and we're going to fight it together. And I think it's just one of the most special, cool things. I mean, I compete currently, not in karate. I did compete in karate as a kid and through my teens, but now I compete in jiu-jitsu, and I'm half inclined to do the same thing that you just did and start a trend, because I think it is the coolest thing in the world.
I would encourage it, and I appreciate the kind words.
Absolutely. Do you have any advice for a martial artist who might be thinking about giving back, or might be wondering how they can give back, or might be scared? Because I've had a lot of martial artists come up to me and say, that I work with, say, I think that what you do is so amicable, but I could never do it myself. Do you have any advice for those people?
I would just say, do it. That's what my mom says. She just says, do it. I go up to my mom and I say, Mom, I think I have an idea. And before I even say it, she says, do it. If you think about do it, if you see someone that you admire doing something, you can do that thing. They're just a person. You're just a person. And you are just as capable as anybody else out there. So if you have an idea, do it.
And what would you say for the martial artist that would be, because there's one thing about doing it, what would you say for the martial artist that is a little scared of dealing with this population of kids?
Everyone is scared. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. My first day of Kids Kicking Cancer, I'm a teenager. I go in, I'm 17. I said, what do I know about, I have family that has cancer, but I've never had cancer. How am I supposed to relate to these kids? But you go in and it's just like hanging out with any normal kids. I was terrified. 5 seconds in, it's like family. Don't be afraid of those little things.
Yeah, 5 seconds in, you're right. You're talking about the video games they're playing. You're talking about what foods they like. And next thing you know, you become best friends with them. And that's
like
just...
one minute you're thinking like, how am I gonna relate to this kid who's going through chemo for the 4th time? How am I? And then he walks in and he's like, you're talking about his favorite color. Right. You don't have to relate to them on that level because you can't relate to them on that level. What you can do is you can be there as a companion. And I think, exactly.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that we do at Kids Kicking Cancer is we're a companion. You know, and we give tools as well, but we're a companion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
You said it perfectly.
Well, listen, Robbie, I don't have much more questions for you. You spoke so eloquently about, one, the program, so thanks for that. Made my job easy. But 2, you spoke so eloquently about what you did and the kids you work with, and I just want to personally applaud you for all the work that you do. I know it's tough going into the rooms, and it can be tough sometimes emotionally, but what you're doing and what you did with that belt is so fantastic. Like I said, I'm gonna take your path here, and we're gonna make it a trend. We're gonna all start writing these names on the belts. I think it's just super cool.
I love that.
Awesome. Well, could you lead us in? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. I appreciate that, and I hope more people hear it and have similar ideas.
I agree. Could you lead us on a bow out before we go?
On a bow out? I don't have much space in my room, but I would absolutely love to. So
that's all right.
Stand at attention, and we'll go power, peace, and purpose. Great.
Awesome. Perfect. All right, Robbie. Well, you have a great rest of your day, and keep doing what you're doing, my friend. It was awesome.
Well, thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay.